right, let me stop for George Lucas sue me. Welcome, Screen Fiend fans. Let's talk about it. It has returned. It has returned. Yep, you guessed it. Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, the 25th anniversary. I had bought these tickets. I stayed out. I didn't stay out outside all night. I just got in line at the right time. And all night, from 1 a.m. in the morning to the place opened up, it was a line. It was a lot different when this movie came out in 99. The first Star Wars movie made since 1983. And here it is, 1999. And we finna get the release of 3 new films. The Phantom Menace is going to set the stage and set the bar to a whole new level. Now, as it returned, my best friend was just murdered 2 weeks before this movie came out. Damn near a week, actually. He died on the 24th. This came out on May 3rd. May 4th, around that time. So, yeah, it was about a week. So, after his funeral and everything was done, it was about a week or two, and here it is. We're right back in the thick of things. And we're right dead smack in the middle. And while you're dead smack in the middle, you're dealing with all this nonsense that's going on, with all of this stuff. So this was a distraction to get away. So me going to this 25th anniversary was me saying, I still remember my friend who had an empty seat when we went the first time. Just so happened the person that was supposed to be there was in the car getting high and forgot to come in the movie and tried to walk in late, and they didn't let him do it. So that was the case. And so his seat remained empty through the whole movie. It was like he did that on purpose. So 25 years later, I went back. But let's go back to 1999 and review this movie. That's me. In 1999, let me tell you something specific about that mask. That mask, nobody in the United States or the world had. That is an official Darth Maul mask. And you say, well, what's so significant about it? I know you're looking at it like, okay, that's cool, but how is this significant? George Lucas and LucasArts would not release any of the mask and all that the night before the movie came out. Why? I have no goddamn idea. But they didn't want anybody going there with this, they kind of wanted people to be surprised. I don't know why. We all knew what Darth Maul looked like. We saw the trailers. So I didn't understand the significance of not selling any of the Star Wars merchandise until after the first day it's out, after the premiere is over. So people had to paint their faces like Darth Maul. That was it. That's all they could do. I had the actual mask on the day of release. Why? Because one employee effed up. All the promo for Phantom Menace was done here right by my house today in Northbrook, Illinois. All the movies of small production company had one big client, and it was George Lucas and Lucasfilms Episode 1, Star Wars. Here in Chicago, in Northbrook, Illinois, a little small office. Only people that knew was about 2 to 3 people that worked there. That was it. All of it going around the globe everywhere came from one location. And because of that, I was the only human being who had that poster at said time. I was the only person who had that mask because somebody screwed up at the costume shop. You had an employee who didn't know what the hell he was doing and accidentally sold me the mask. He accidentally put the mask out. Was putting the mask out, and I was like, you got a Darth Maul. I just happened to go there. Just blind luck. And it just found the right stupid employee who just brought this mask out and sold it. It's like, yeah, here you go. Yeah, it's in a box in the back. He didn't realize he wasn't supposed to sell that box in the back until after Friday. He wasn't supposed to do that. And the fact that I knew how to work the Darth Maul, the Batana, because I knew how to work a bow, I could spin that thing like Darth Maul. So when I'm spinning it behind my back, turning around, they're like, whoa, is this guy from the movie? So obviously, this was my way of showing people I knew what I was doing. I knew how I was doing it. I knew the level of what I was doing. It was classic. We had a great time. Fans would come up and duel me. They would lose, but they would duel me. And that's what it was about. It was like, we finna get in some duels. It's going down. And this was 25 years ago. I just look at the picture and look at some of these people, and I'm like, man, I don't know any of these people. But I imagine where they are today, 25 years and now. You know, ran into someone yesterday and they were kids, and it just blows my mind. Just sitting here thinking about it. The guy was like, man, that was like my first movie. I was a little kid. And now it's like 25 years later and it's out. It's kind of crazy, man. When you sit back and think of it, it's really nuts. Now, let's go through the Phantom Menace, because I don't think we were doing movie reviews then. They were on YouTube in 1999. So I don't think we've ever done the Phantom Menace, but I think I reviewed like all Star Wars movies. I'm quite sure I've done it. But let's go again. 25 years later, let's give you what I think about it, watching the film and seeing it 25 years down the road. What I think watching it 25 years down the road later, was I able to pick up something? I was able to endure Jar Jar a little bit better than I was at 25. He was a super annoyance 25 years ago. But now it's like, okay, I can endure him. I understand why he's there. You know, I'm like, okay, he's for the little kids and all of that. But when I'm in my 20s watching Star Wars, I'm looking like, why is he in my movie? I don't need any of these people. Get them out of the way. Get Darth Maul in here. That's what I'm waiting on. So, as the movie is going on, like they had a whole section of kids. This lady was like, can my kids sit up there with you? They switched seats. Because the mom was like, they would rather sit with you than me. Can they sit next to you? I'm like, go ahead. If these guys want to move. So these guys move seats so that they can sit there. I did an interview with the news. They were there too at the same time. Channel 9 News came there to interview. And they came there and ran into me. And I was the most intriguing guy there. So there it was, 25 years later. Now, after all of this was done, breaking down the actual movie from the crawl, right? You're seeing the war and the conflict ensue as you see that the Trade Federation is starting to do things it doesn't do. It's violating the town of Naboo, which is a peaceful town and has a democracy. The Trade Federation is trying to go back to a dictatorship when they're trying to dictate terms for the city of Naboo. Now, for anybody in their 20s, you don't really care about any of this. You don't care about the politics of it. So the politics of it is very smart, very strategic of what we see today. So the Empire did not really exist yet. So they had the Republic, where it's supposed to govern all of the galaxy and everybody in Coruscant. The Jedis are the keepers of the peace. They're not soldiers. They just help with negotiations when things don't go well, and they try to force negotiations with this, this dispute, like a labor dispute. So the Trade Federation has linked themselves to a mysterious human being. Well, we all know who it is now, so let's stop with all this. So it's Darth Sidious behind the scenes is pulling the strings, and so they're not acting like they normally would act. They're moving on the whim of what he wants. So he starts an invasion, and when they find out the ambassadors are really Jedis, and they were there to force a settlement, negotiation by lightsaber. the Darth Sidious had killed them immediately. They should have never been the Chancellor should have never involved them. Kill them immediately. So now they try to kill the Jedis. The Jedis get back to Naboo, where they run into Jar Jar Binks and all hell breaks loose. And they got to get back to the Queen, who they've come in and basically they don't have an army to fight the vast machine droids of the Trade Federation. So now the droid army has taken the Queen, and they're trying to get her to force her to make a settlement and sign a treaty. If she signs this treaty, it makes the invasion legal, and they can go from there. So they chose not to do that. And it only got worse. Now, the situation got to a point where other people got involved. And when other people got involved, it just dirtied the mud and muddied the waters a little bit more. Because now the Jedi's found them, they escaped. R2-D2 is now discovered, and they go to Tatooine because they're damaged, where they run into a young Anakin Skywalker and Waldo, who was one of my favorite characters in there, a shady junk dealer who has the parts they need, but on Tatooine, they don't take Republic credits. It's ran by the Hutt, so they use their own bartering system and revenue. They're basically useless to the Republic, so the Republic don't even care about Tatooine. So now the Trade Federation has no grounds there or whatever, so the Hutt comes there to basically do what it is that they do. They want to hunt down this ship. So the Trade Federation says it's out of their jurisdiction. They don't know where the ship is. They can't find it. So he sent Darth Maul to go find the ship and bring her back and force her to sign the treaty. But to move on the Jedi first. Now, they run into Anakin, then Qui-Gon Jinn sees that Anakin is quite different from anybody else that he's ever encountered from a young person standpoint, and says, there's something special about this child. I need to find out what. Then he goes into this lengthy investigation, and he turns that into a uh, using his force powers, he make sure the boy was the one that won, and he didn't let the cube of chance rule by chance. He took the boy. He wins the pod race, which he did not help him win the pod race. And once he won the race, he got the parts, and pod racing video game came out, Star Wars, and it's all about merchandising now, rather than making a film that connects. And you start to see that as it genuinely goes along, you're seeing characters force fed into the movie for marketing standpoints. Um, like, I don't really like the digital Yoda. They went back and, George loves to go back to scribble on things. I like the actual puppet Yoda they had in there because the reactions went with the actual, you know, words of the movie. So certain things that the puppet Yoda did was unique in my opinion, but they had to make him look more appropriate when they went to digital Yoda for the next film, so they went back and scribbled on the Phantom Menace. Now, as they put the parts together and Qui-Gon is spotted, the droids fly back to go tell Kylo Ren and report back to what they saw. So now they're going to track Qui-Gon, all the way back as they're running back to the ship and racing back to the ship. As those two are racing back, because he went back to get Anakin's now free, got his freedom, he can go become a Jedi. He has to duck real quick because here comes somebody jumping off of the speeder, and it's Kylo Ren. Nope, it ain't. It's Darth Maul. Maul jumps off, does a flip off of the ship, and as soon as he does that, he is on Qui-Gon right away. And the lightsaber battle starts. As Darth Maul is swooshing and moving. He's bringing up all this dust as he's swinging his lightsaber angrily. And Qui-Gon can feel the power of the Sith. And he can see this guy is full of rage and ready to take down a Jedi. Now, he jumps up and escapes on the ship. As they flew low, they flew low, and he jumped up, got out of there. Obi-Wan was like, who is that? As they get on the ship and they take off and fly, they go back to Coruscant. They meet with the Union, and Palpatine ends up manipulating the situation to make her, the Senator Padme, which was Queen Amidala, made her give up, lose, did a vote of no confidence against the senator so he can get the seat and get nominated, and he'll be the one in charge. So Palpatine was nominated, and he was quite sure that this whole invasion thing that was happening was going to get a lot of sympathy through the universe so that he would get voted in. All of this is a strategic puzzle move, and all these pieces are put in place so that he could be put in position of power. So now, that all of this has been revealed to the rest of the world. People who were trying to infiltrate the infrastructure of the core of the government or what they were doing. Queen Amidala was sitting there just thinking about what should her next move be. And she figured it out. She said, I got it. And when Jar Jar was talking about how he had an army, she decided, I'm going to go and plead to the Gargans because they have a whole army. And they have a vast army. So Jar Jar Binks was able to find them, and she was able to convince them, we need them. And without them, there was no way they can do what they wanted to do. So now, as they come back, and she's getting ready to invade, Darth Maul was sent there by Darth Sidious. And he couldn't believe she went and tried to get with the locals. And he was like, this doesn't sound like her. It's too aggressive. So he was surprised by her change in, demeanor and her change in position. So he said, be careful to Darth Maul, like be mindful. Because this is not like this chick. Like, I know this woman. I've clocked her every which way. So then when they got the locals together to start this fight, Darth Sidious couldn't believe it and was like, she's more foolish than I thought. This will work to our advantage. He's like, I have the permission to send the troops to go attack. Yep. Wipe them out. All of them. She's more foolish than I thought. This is her move, but she really had a great plan. Her plan was to make the battle a diversion, and she was going to go into the secret passageway to get into the castle, and they were going to start the attack at the castle. So the small group that was going to be there to protect them at the castle was not going to be enough. The Jedis was following suit because they knew that the Queen's attacker was going to be there. So they knew this would draw him out. They would send that guy there, that attacker, because he's going to be trying to get the Queen. So Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon is there. Then here we go. The action scene takes place as they free the guys in the hangar. They have the Gargans fighting the robots in the field, and you get to see Jar Jar be a fool throughout the entire battle. Here's the problem. You had 3 battles going on. Star Wars normally does that. It normally has like 3 battles happening. You have a battle in space, you have a battle on the ground, and then you have the lightsaber duel. This is like the normal trait for Star Wars. But something happens, and when you're trying to stretch the movie, this is what hurt the film. This is the part that hurt it. Once you have someone that stretches the film to a realm it can't come back from, you have 4 scenes going on at one time. So now it becomes too much going on. There was a split. The Jedis end up splitting from the rebellion with the Queen. She's going to get the Viceroy and all of that action. That went on too long. They found another way around. The Jedis end up fighting Darth Maul, who was right there. And they were there, got cut off by Darth Maul, and they went to find another way to go around. And those guys, the Jedi, stood to fight Darth Maul. as this will be the first time Obi-Wan will have his exchange with Darth Maul. So now, they get ready, they take off their cloaks or whatever, and it's time for war. Now the battle kicks off with them. Anakin Skywalker, the little kid, is now in the ship. He flies out into space. So now you got your space war. Now you got your Star Wars happening in space. So you got your air war, you got your ground war with the Gargans and Jar Jar. Now you got this meaningless thing of they got to get to the Viceroy with Padme and her crew. And now you got the Darth Maul fights. And now you got 4 things going on at once, which made it a mess. Because you can care less about them getting the Viceroy. That thing could have been 2 minutes. You can cut all that out. Nobody cared about that anymore. You could have showed the final scene. We did not have to see them bust the window, go up there, shoot up, go to the top. That thing could have been 2 minutes later. Showing them go in there and trick the Viceroy and said, hey, this one's a decoy. They could have wrapped that up in 2 minutes. And then the Anakin Skywalker scene you could have just focused right on Anakin flying out in space with the space war, the ground war, and the lightsaber duel fight. But keep it short. And that's what it is. They kept the space battle short, which was good. The ground battle was taking a little bit too long, but it's a ground battle. And from then, the lightsaber duel was some of the best we've seen in Star Wars history at the time. With Darth Maul and Obi-Wan. It was, in my eyes, just classic. It was just one of those classic moments in time where we've been waiting to see some lightsaber action like that. And Qui-Gon gets killed. Obi-Wan ends up cutting Darth Maul in half. And the mission is up and going. The Gargans are getting their respect. And that's the end of the film. It was exhilarating at the time because we didn't even get how bad the Gargans was feeling and disrespected, and how the Naboo were treating them as like the low-level people of the planet. Like it was a hierarchy. And the Gargans felt like these people stick their nose up at us. And we missed all of that. And when our 20s, the first time around, but you get to see it more and more now, how it plays out. It's like, man, we don't want to help them. What do we want to help them for? And when they came and humbled themselves before them and said, hey, we're all the same here. Whatever one does, it affects the other. So that was huge. That was very huge to go by. So that's it. My review for The Phantom Menace, still 4 stars for Star Wars. Even though they mugged up the ending, we still going with 4 stars. Star Wars. I'm out.